We now know more about Hull, a decorated war hero who is now a proven, powerful enemy for Steve Austin. But now, does Steve also have another enemy in Margaret Carlisle, who has shown that she literally holds Steve's life in her hand? Let's look at the next issue and find out. Welcome back, agents, and this time we'll be considering issue number 8 of the Bionic Man, and this one is entitled War Machines. So now let's look at and see what happens to Steve next. They can shut me down. Did you know that, Rudy? They just push a button and I just tap out. Talk about a turnoff, Rudy says jokingly. I'm a tool, Steve says. No, Steve, they're tools. Oscar walks in. Rudy, how's the patient? You don't see a patient. You see a machine. A machine you and your boss can unplug whenever you want. Unplug and scrap. She'd have to get through me first, Steve. Oh, it's obvious how much a fight you'd put up there. Steve, everything I did, the compromises I made, it was all to save your life. Why bother, Oscar? This isn't living. You were lying there like a slab of meat and they told me they could rebuild you, save your life. So I made the call. I made the call that brought my best friend back from the dead. Nobody stole your humanity, Steve. It's still there. You keep rationalizing it, Oscar. I'm sure you'll learn to live with yourself as Steve storms out of the room. Steve, wait, Oscar says. Steve and Oscar are now in the locker room. Come on, Steve, Oscar says. Colonel Austin, let's keep it professional from here on out. Fine, Oscar says. We have a location, a probable location on Hull's base of operations deep in the Ural Range. It's expected to be a bomb-hardened facility in the core of a mountain. A specifically outfitted stealth bomber will drop you into the target zone and pick you up on your signal. Infiltrate with extreme prejudice and put down Hull by any means necessary. Recover or destroy the stolen OSI bionics and EMP tech. If we don't hear from you in 8 hours, we'll hone in on your tracking beacon and send in the cavalry. But sending me in alone keeps things quiet. Covers your butt, doesn't it, Oscar? The Russians wouldn't be keen on a full-scale military operation within their borders, Steve. The favors I had to call in for this insertion alone burned a lifetime of political capital. Brave of you. Steve, there's one more thing. The fail-safe device that you're carrying. It'll be activated if I deviate from my mission. I know. No, listen. It's located in your right arm, right here. If activated, you will feel a dulling tingle. Something like your arm is falling asleep. It spreads from processor to processor until your entire system shuts down. The process takes up to 2 minutes to complete. Fantastic, Steve says. You have 2 minutes from the moment you feel that sensation in your forearm. Do you understand? 2 minutes, Steve. I understand. Steve turns and walks out and heads towards the hangar where the stealth ship is. Steve now approaches the target site in the plane. We're over the drop zone now, Colonel Austin. Eject on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Steve ejects from the plane. His parachute opens and he slowly drifts down. Little does Steve know that he's being watched closely by Hull. Didn't I tell you, Naga? What silly tests our guest's newly minted abilities? Activate the stingers, please. Naga walks over and presses a button, and 2 stinger missiles launch at Steve. Steve looks down and sees the missiles coming towards him. Well, he's not shy. The missiles detonate above Steve, destroying his parachute, and Steve free falls down until he hits the side of the mountain. Then, at the last moment, he grabs the hold of the edge of the mountain and holds on. Whoa, Austin says. Colonel Austin, this is Avery Hall, the man you've been sent to kill. To meet me in battle at the heart of this mountain fortress, you need only to step through the tunnel. I await you with great eagerness. Steve slowly walks into the tunnel of the mountain, and someone is rushing him. And out of nowhere, this bionic creature attacks Steve. He throws a punch and Steve blocks. You're not whole. Steve rips the arm off the creature. Not as strong, and dang sure not as smart. You're going to have to do better than that, Hall. You hear me? You're going to have to do a hell of a lot better than that. At that moment, Steve is surrounded by a bunch of cybernetic men. Steve is attacked from all sides. He tries to fight back, but it's to no avail. Steve is overwhelmed. At that moment, Naga walks up, draws back, and knocks Steve out. When Steve comes to, he finds himself caged with a hole sitting in front of him. Tell me, Colonel Austin, did they let you keep your manhood? Relax, I don't want to see them or anything. I'm just curious. They didn't let me keep mine. Steve rams the cage door. Makes you feel human again, doesn't it? I built this cell to withstand the upper limits of my own strength. The long and short of it is that you can't get out of here until I let you out. I knew one day that our mutual masters would attempt to recreate the process that made me the man I am today. But that's neither here nor there. For now, let's use your unfortunate incarceration to get acquainted. I think we both know each other, Steve says. Oh yes, I'm sure Carlisle and her pet goldfish told you all about me. But I've done my research on you, Colonel Austin, the second greatest miracle of modern science, with yours truly being the first, of course. Steve looks at Hall and says, well, you know what has to happen here. They stuffed me full of tracking devices. They can see everything I see, everything I hear. They'll be coming to blast this place to hell if they're not on their way already. Either give yourself up or beat it. I'm not interested in conversation. That doesn't sound like that gung-ho spirit, Hall says, that OSI is famous for. Has someone lost faith? Someone doesn't give a damn anymore, Steve says. They've taken everything from me. I'm sure they have no qualms about destroying me right alongside of you. You hear that, Carlisle? Go ahead and blow us up. Both up. Right here. Right now. Bravo, Colonel Austin. You're talking to yourself. I had your communication capabilities removed while you were out. Oh, you're still fully functional, but you can't communicate with them and they can't see or hear through you. Not anymore. By the way, did you know they could turn that on and off without your knowledge? Yes, they could go online anytime they liked, say, while you were in mid-coitus. There you'd be courting Miss Summers, the office watching your bedroom antics like some amateur porn. Beats YouTube all the hell. Steve grabs the cage in anger. Oh, the mention of Miss Summers, Hull says. It's in your personnel file. That one was all too easy to hack into at OSI. Seems like Carlisle now regards Jamie as a potential danger to the Bionics project. She's even tossing around the idea about having her liquidated. They have big plans for you, Colonel Austin. You're the perfect weapon, and unlike myself, you left ties behind. Ties that your human side might find it difficult to cut. Well, Margaret Carlisle was perfectly willing to cut them for you. Steve stares down Hull. Nice try. You know I'm telling the truth. They learned when they lost control of me. That failsafe they've installed in you is a direct result. Besides, I wouldn't lie to my only brother. Stop deluding yourself, Steve says. I was built to take you down. Right, Hull says. Well, there is that. But regardless, we are brothers of sorts. We have the same parents. Do you know who those parents are? Better yet, do you know who your father is? Adolf Hitler is your father, Colonel. Steve reaches in anger through the cage at Hull. Where do you think the Bionics program began? You've heard of the experiments the Nazi doctors perform. Atrocious acts of inhuman proportions. Well, a primitive sort of bionics was among those experiments on our brave Allied POWs. And just as the space program was born out of those genius scientists, something else was sifted out of the ashes of World War II. Hull taps himself on the chest. You probably like that, Steve says. Don't you? Crediting a lunatic like Hitler for your existence. I've found his brand of hate limited. It would be ridiculous for us to view one race as beneath us when they're all beneath us. So that's what you're working towards, Steve says? You're going to wipe out mankind and fashion a machine world? Didn't I see that once in the movie? That famous Austin wit. But wit is usually preceded by intelligence. And that's where they slipped up. Because that very intelligence is going to help you see the world through my eyes. You're smart, Austin. So I won't waste any more of your time in constructing you. OSI has jump-started my plan for world domination. I mean, what kind of villain would I be if I lacked one of those, right? You're not a villain, Steve says. You're a joke. This angers Hull. I am a god! Hull regains his composure. As you are, we are the Adam and the Eve of a new epoch. You can be whichever one you like. We are thinking machines. Machines with free will, not that soft-headed Hollywood artificial intelligence garbage. The perfect human mankind has been working toward since the Industrial Revolution began. The marriage of man and machine. Steve turns his back to Hull. Jesus, you're insane. No, Hull says. I'm upgraded. Hull flips a switch and sends a bolt of electricity through the cage and Steve. I'm not anti-human, Colonel. Hell, I used to be one myself. But I view them as they view the apes from which they evolved. A cute but clear reminder of the necessity of natural selection. Am I a machine who dreamed he was a man? Or a man who dreamed he was a machine? I'm getting sentimental, aren't I? I apologize, my humanity showing again. We need humans in order to make them over in our image. Hull turns off the current. High voltage, effective on both nervous systems and bionic circuitry. I use it to discipline my troops when necessary. An army, as you know, thrives on discipline. This army took me a mere 6 months to build, thanks largely to the data OSI has supplied me via my little raids. And it's only the beginning, Colonel. I'm going to decrease the population of the world by 2/3 and convert the remaining fortunate few to cyborgs. Think of it. The dregs of this planet wiped clean, taking their disease and pollution with them, leaving a world where mortality is conquered by science. Earth will be ruled by the product of self-directed evolution, regenesis by my hand, a race of the bionic, ageless, deathless, perfect, like us. I would like you very much to rule by my side, Colonel. We were the first to be reborn into this new world. It's only fitting that we oversee it together. Like it or not, we are brothers in steel. How do you kill? Steve says. How do I propose to kill the useless 2/3? Well, I plan to use the EMP devices I so wisely liberated from the North Koreans. I'm sure OSI thought I procured them simply as a defensive measure, that I feared an EMP pulse may disrupt my electronic systems. Once again, as I have with their bionics, I have improved on their technology, refined it. No, I've calibrated the EMP emitters to send a pulse that directs organic electrical systems, brain waves, synaptic relays, heartbeats. Of course, it wasn't instantaneous. The pulses washed over the targeted victims in waves, slowly eroding their bodily functions until they simply shut down. Gruesome to be sure, but leaving minimal damage to the physical kingdom I stand to inherit. I shall begin in Washington, D.C., a decapitation strike. The country will fall into anarchy. I'll commandeer America's nuclear capabilities. We'll outlive whatever radioactive fallout that may exist from nuking the rest of the world. Sure, this semi-organic skin they covered us will simply blister and rot. Hole reaches towards his face and pulls his skin off. But, as you've already probably noticed, beauty is only skin deep, right? So what do you say, Steve? Have I sufficiently appealed to your intellect? This very day the new world begins, and I'd have you by my side for its birth. Are you with me? Go to hell, Steve says. It was worth a shot, wasn't it? This fortress will go nuclear in 20 minutes, by which time my army and I, along with the EMP devices, will be long on our way toward the U.S. Only 1 megaton, but it'll be enough to destroy this base and you with it. Dramatic, I know, but as you've pointed out, I've watched too many movies. Das Vidania, Colonel Austin. I shall think of you from time to time. Shall I run into Carlisle or Oscar? I'll tell them that you died with your boots on. And this, Hull reaches for the switch again and turns it on. This is for not declining politely. Alright, agents, that will do it for issue 8. Steve has found himself in a tight spot, so next will be issue 9, and we'll see how Steve will make it out of this trap that Hull set for him. So until next time, agents, let's keep it classified.